I've looked at a lot of Wi-Fi home connected cameras, but this looks like a really interesting little starter bundle. This is the Home8 Mini Cube HD 2 camera ultra secure starter kit. This kit is available for about $250 over on Home8's website. I think on Amazon it may be like $240, $238, something like that. But I haven't actually gotten hands-on with a kit where you've got multiple cameras and one base station and everything kind of connects into itself. I thought that was kind of cool. So as you can see from the side of the package, inside this box you're going to get a security shuttle, which has a built-in router and has a built-in firewall and everything. Has an Ethernet port, a USB 2 port, built-in 4 gigs of storage, and you also get two Mini Cube HD cameras. These are HD in the sense that they're 720p at 30 frames a second, so they're not full HD 1080p cameras. 720p, still gonna get the job done for a lot of people. The form factor is something that was really interesting to me too, because they look like they're relatively small cameras. And they say they've got micro SD card slots in them, and they can take up to a 64 gig card, so if you can do local storage to a small camera, that's really cool. But then here on the back of the box, it mentions HD monitoring. Again, these are HD cameras, two-way audio so you can technically talk through them, device activated recording, so motion detection. Then you've also got that local or cloud storage. So local up to 4 gigs on the shuttle, 64 gigs on the devices, and then automatic Dropbox backup. I do have Dropbox and I do love Dropbox. And in case you're curious about security stuff, privacy first, AES 256 encryption, easy to install, easy to expand, one app controls everything. I've heard a lot of good things about the Home8 stuff. Definitely had to check it out. Let's see what's in the box. So here's your what's inside list and what you're gonna need: broadband internet, an iPhone or an Android, and a home router. The steps to set everything up, just 3 simple steps, and troubleshooting tips. Some bubble wrap, gigantic package of silica gel. Here's the security shuttle, lots more bubble wrap, power brick, looks to be USB power brick, micro USB cable, flat Ethernet cable, and the security shuttle. So you've got all of your lights here on the front, power, cloud, Wi-Fi, signal strength, and security or privacy. It's got a little lock on there with your antenna on the back, USB plug, so USB for connectivity, maybe for storage, reset button, WAN, and power, so micro USB for power. On the bottom it mentions the input is 5 volts at 2 amps, so any sort of 2 amp input should work, but presumably that's what this is. Yeah, this is just a standard K-Tech 5 volt 2 amp USB adapter. And then for the cameras, lots more bubble wrap, always more bubble wrap. It's a really interesting packing job. So 2 little pouches full of stuff, so we'll only do this once. Another little K-Tech 5 volt 2 amp USB adapter, micro USB cable, a little bit of mounting hardware, and then the camera itself. Now I will say, these don't say Home8. Everything in here so far has said Miva Life. I don't know if that's just a branding change that they've made. Here's the little remove tag on the front of it. Keep the camera lens safe. There you go. And it does mention on the back, trade name Mivatech. That's pretty interesting. It says model number IPC 2202, has a micro SD card slot on this side, button on the top, and this included built-in mount, which hopefully, yeah, it apparently is just a tripod mount. So technically anywhere that you've got just a standard tripod mount, you can mount this thing. Or if you want, you can just sort of set it up somewhere, reasonably small form factor. And since it plugs in the back, it can just be held up in place by whatever cable you've got plugged into it. I really like the small form factor here. So I mean, technically, if you wanted to, you could just use some 3M sticky tape and stick this to the wall. You could stick it up in the corner, or just very inconspicuous. That's one of the reasons I was really interested in checking this out. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and take a minute and get everything set up, hooked up, and ready to go, and then we'll come back with you and give you a quick demonstration. The security shuttle was fairly straightforward to set up. Basically just plug in Ethernet and power, and then everything lights up over time. The cameras were just the same, basically just plug in a micro USB cable in the back, and eventually the light on the front turns blue. It was a different color when it started, but once it synced up with the other camera and with the shuttle, it changed colors. And look at that, we're back. The rest of the setup process was essentially just getting the app installed on my phone, going through the activation process with the shuttle, and it all kind of just fell into place after that. But as you can see here, I do have the app pulled up. Shows your location name up here and the type of service you have. You can arm and disarm it here. You can set off the emergency siren here. I'll go ahead and just do that real quick. It says tap the above button and select turn on or turn off. Turn on. And there's an emergency. Although I do have the siren turned off because it's kind of loud. But if I go back into my location, say siren is immediate, and then hit emergency. Yeah. So I will be turning that off immediately. Any sort of motion detection and alarm, no, I'm good with that. Otherwise, inside of this home screen, you have options for video, videogram, automation, temperature, medication, and activity. The only options out of those 6 that work for me are video and apparently videogram. The other ones just say no device available because I don't have the appropriate devices for them. If I go to videogram, it shows you videos that have been captured, emergencies, motions that have been detected and whatnot. You can tap on those and you can view them. And I believe those are actually being stored on the shuttle itself. If you go to video, you get to see the live video from the cameras. And as you can see here, camera 1, camera 2. Camera 1 I've got over there. Camera 2 is actually right in front of me. And then you just tap on the appropriate camera that you want to view, turn the phone sideways, and it will show you what you're seeing on the camera. You can see there's a little bit of a delay. Sort of depends on your Wi-Fi and your connectivity, because I'm sure this is transmitting up through the cloud, but it does tend to work out pretty well. You have options in here. You can flip the camera view, you can turn motion and sound detection on and off, you can change your live video resolution. That would obviously make it a little faster if I turned it down from HD to high or medium, but I prefer the higher quality video. You can hit this button to hear what's going on. You can hear that button to actually talk to the person on the other end. Although in my testing of it, again, it's going through the cellular network and everything, which you think it wouldn't given that I'm on Wi-Fi at the moment, but I'm guessing it has to transmit out and then back down. The audio back and forth, like the two-way communication, kind of broke down. And that probably has a lot to do with my network connection. Otherwise on here you have a record button and a call button. The call button is just to call an emergency number if you have one. I don't have any enabled, so it just says no phone numbers. And if you hit record, it starts recording to your local device. Otherwise, you can set it up to record locally to the micro SD on the actual cameras, and presumably to the shuttle itself. I have a micro SD card in camera 2 here, but not in camera 1. And inside of the videogram option there, I did see stuff from camera 1 instead of camera 2. I'm guessing all the camera 2 footage being stored locally on the micro SD card on camera 2 is why I'm not seeing it there. So the videogram must just be all the locally stored video on the shuttle. If we come into the settings menu, we just swipe over for that. You can see there's a web store, there's device management, that's where all the magic is going to happen sort of. Go to location 1, that's my location. You can turn the siren on or off, that's what I've done. You can turn your logs from 7 to 14 or 30 days. That will be for videograms, notifications, or any energy usage. You can manage your backups. You can set it to go up to Dropbox if you want to do that. Manage integration with Honeywell or Lockstate. I don't have either one of those. You can use local storage. Again, here we have 3.7 gigs available, and apparently none of it's been used yet. And you can even put the shuttle in cellular mode if you have a cellular connection that you want to hook it up to. I don't have that. I'm not going to do that. You've also got info down here about looking up your service plan, restarting the shuttle, replacing the shuttle, or removing it, because presumably you can actually use these wireless cameras just as wireless cameras without having to use the security shuttle as well. Moving on down though, you can see we have the cameras in here. I had to manually add these. Looking in the cameras though, again, you can change its name, you can change motion detection and sound detection options, the live video resolution, Wi-Fi settings. Again, that's what I was saying. If you wanted to remove the shuttle, you probably could, and just go Wi-Fi only. Local storage, you can see on this one there's no local storage. Camera on, you can turn it off for privacy and security. Continuous recording, if you have a card in there, or I guess if you want to stream it straight to the shuttle, you could leave that on, and then you can restart and remove it. Camera 2 is actually the one here in front of me. The biggest difference there, local storage, you can see it shows 29.3 gigs with 48 megs used. It's just sitting here constantly recording, so hopefully I can switch over to some of the footage of it where it's sitting here in front of me. The limited amount of testing I've done with this camera footage so far, footage looks pretty decent in good lighting. It actually does pretty well in low light as well, meaning it has a good night vision mode. But the weird thing is, and you've probably already noticed it by now, the audio seems to be out of sync. Audio issues are really the big thing that I've seen about this so far. The audio appears to be several seconds behind. And I'm guessing it just has to do with the fact that these cameras are so small, they're doing so many things. Again, maybe if I change the resolution down to high or to medium, might help things out. And I'll try to go ahead and include some low light, some night footage from this in here as well, just so you can sort of see what it looks like when it's recording at night. But overall, just to go ahead and sort of wrap things up, because I don't want to go on for entirely too long here, I think this is actually a really neat little setup. I mean, you've got these two cameras that are extraordinarily tiny little cameras. As I mentioned earlier, if you take this little thing off, you've just got a little cube, not even a cube, it's more flat than a cube, that you can just stick off of a micro USB plug, put a micro SD card in it, and it'll just sit there and record. Completely out of the way, not very obvious, but they're just very small, they're very inconspicuous, and they do have decent quality video. As long as you aren't reliant upon really high quality video with in-sync audio, it seems like it'll do a very good job for you. So I will go ahead and put a link to where you can find these down in the video description, most likely over at Home8's website, but I'll probably also put an Amazon link down there as well if you're interested. Thanks so much to Home8 for sending these out for me to take a look at. Definitely going to be interesting to find places to stick them around the house in conspicuous locations for security and monitoring type purposes. Thanks to you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a thumbs up down below if you like this video and subscribe to receive more when they become available, and I will see you again next time.